I was hoping to deliver this testimony yesterday at the Missouri House to the Judiciary Committee in Jefferson City, but my mom, who I take care of, who has Alzheimer's disease, she couldn't make the drive. We made it to Herman and we turned around at Herman. So I'm offering this testimony now, which I'll post to my YouTube page. My name is Chris O'Leary, and I'm a survivor of the Catholic sex abuse crisis. I'm here to offer my qualified support for House Bill 709. In the late 1970s and early 1980s at the Church of the Immacolata in St. Louis, just up the hill from the Galleria Mall if you know St. Louis, I was sexually exploited, abused, and assaulted, ultimately raped by a priest named Father LeRoy Valentine. Then things got really bad. My abuse was witnessed and blind-eyed by then Father and now Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the Archbishop of New York and perhaps the next Pope, who lived and worked with my abuser, Father Valentine, at Immacolata for 2 years, from 1977 until 1979. Worse still is the involvement of Missouri Attorneys General and now United States Senators Josh Hawley and Eric Schmitt in my case. Hawley's SHAM fall 2018 investigation of the Archdiocese of St. Louis, launched in the aftermath of the Pennsylvania grand jury report, an investigation I now know was a sham because, out of a naive hope, I tried to assist in it. Neither now Senator Hawley nor his team were interested in talking to me or hearing my story. I did manage to talk twice to Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmitt's team, but now United States Senator Schmitt killed the investigation of the Archdiocese of St. Louis and his Catholic Church within days of my implicating Cardinal Dolan in late July 2019. And I have to ask, is conflict of interest no longer a thing? Why does the state of Missouri allow Catholics, like now Senator Schmitt, to quote-unquote investigate and protect their own Catholic Church? It's bad enough that I have to deal with the consequences of my own abuse and the abuse of the abused at the hands of Father Valentine, Cardinal Dolan, and now United States Senators Josh Hawley and Eric Schmitt. What's worse is what my children were subjected to due to the state of Missouri's failure to prohibit the use of non-disclosure, non-disparagement, and other such agreements that predatory institutions like the Catholic Church and Kanakuk use to silence survivors. I have 4 children, all of whom attended Kanakuk starting, I think, in the summer of 2010. I've done the Kanakuk pickup ritual and attended Joe White's, I think, Friday evening cross presentation at least 5 times. You can't imagine what it's like to be a parent and survivor of the Catholic sex abuse crisis who sent his kids to Kanakuk, safe in the knowledge that they would be protected. Hey, it's Kanakuk. Only to learn years later that Kanakuk was absolutely crawling with predators. Were my kids sexually abused as I was? I hope not. I don't think they were. But there are a few things I wonder about. But I don't know. I guess I'll find out in 10 or 20 years. What I do know is that Joe White and others at Kanakuk used non-disclosure agreements to keep me and parents like me from finding out the truth about what was going on at Kanakuk. Joe White and all the folks at Kanakuk put my children at risk, sacrificed children, if not my children, just as Catholics in the Church sacrificed me. Before I close, let me mention that all such bills must cover and prohibit not just non-disclosure agreements, but also non-disparagement agreements and all agreements of that nature. As we speak, the Catholic Church in Knoxville, Tennessee, at least, despite the United States Catholic Church making a show of banning non-disclosure agreements, continues to silence survivors with non-disparagement agreements. Same difference. I know that because I know personally Catholic survivors who have been silenced. Finally, as I said, I'm here to offer my qualified support for Missouri House Bill 709. Qualified because I can't help but notice that the bill continues the same restrictive time frame language that, due to the efforts of then Bishop and now Cardinal Dolan 22 years ago, nearly to the day, in the aftermath of Spotlight, created a statute of limitations problem for me and my lawsuit against the Archdiocese of St. Louis. language that fails to take into account the manipulation I experienced, first at the hands of Father LeRoy Valentine, who told me he was giving me the power to consecrate the Eucharist, which is why I failed to understand the weird stuff he did with me and to me. Sure, the ritual got weird at the end, but Father Valentine gave me the power to turn ordinary bread into the literal body of Jesus Christ. So, on top of that are the lies, gaslighting, and manipulation perpetrated by then Bishop and now Cardinal Timothy Dolan, who, likely any day now, will be off to Rome to run for Pope. So yes, I've heard it all, seen it all, and all I can say is this: show me.